From the PSIA-AASI satellite studios in Corvallis, Oregon, I'm George Thomas. You're listening to First Chair. Fun show today. We've got Dr. Evil, Pete Allison joining us. And wow, big congratulations to you and the Nittany Lions. You're having quite the bowl season. And we've got Mark Carville, the director of adventure sports at Blue Mountain. And I just have to say, it's so fun coming out of the holidays. Some of the silly stuff you can find. I got Buddy the Elf syrup. And how fun is this? Because it's got the narwhal, it's got the puffin, it's got North Pole. I mean, when we're done, I'm heating up a big plate of pasta and just pouring this all over it and having a crazy afternoon. And I'm celebrating that not only am I up training on skiing and working on my skiing at Mount Hood Meadows, but I'm also getting ready for a 40K time trial. I'm part of a triathlon relay at the Lava Man, April 6th in Hawaii. So got a lot of miles and a lot of work coming up this winter. I'm really excited for this season and really excited to talk with you, Mark, and you, Pete.
Wow. Hawaii, congratulations. That's quite an achievement.
Well, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it. Mark, let's chat about the Penn State instructor training program. You're actually taking part in that?
Yes, I am. And just to set the record straight, George, I appreciate your anointing me as the director of the adventure sports at Blue Mountain. That is a position that's held by my boss, Joe Forte, ably assisted by Tina Buckley and Clayton Ayers. But I am an instructor at Blue Mountain. I've been an instructor there on Alpine side for the last 6 years. And this has been the culmination of a many decades long love affair with snow sports and skiing in particular. And it was about a year ago, just at Christmas of 2023, that I learned about the initiative that is spearheaded by PSIA-AASI and coordinated with Penn State University to offer an undergraduate certificate in professional snow sports education. And being a lifelong learner as well as a teacher, I was hooked right away. And my involvement with snow sports, quite honestly, has been very selfish up until this point. It's been very me-centric. How much fun can I have? And what can I do? And when I looked at the curriculum and what it offered, I said, I really want to explore these other dimensions of snow sports as a industry, but also snow sports education, because I think that I can be a lot more impactful and useful to my students and my colleagues if I have this additional training. So I jumped right into it earlier this year, and it has exceeded my wildest expectations as far as rigor, as far as a sense of personal achievement and fulfillment, as well as just the level of information and learning that can be conveyed in a relatively short period of time. And that's a credit to a very well curated curriculum, as well as ongoing direction from the various faculty members. So that's the thumbnail sketch of my involvement. But I think that the real benefit for this program is to the industry writ large, because we are in need, as I see it, and I believe others would agree with me, in need of the next generation of leadership, where the innovation is going to come from and what is going to sustain us in the coming years and help us as an industry overcome some pretty substantial challenges. So that is very much a byproduct of this PSIA-AASI Penn State University undergraduate certificate in professional snow sports education. So let me take a breath there and ask for your feedback or any other comments that Pete, you might want to offer.
Pete, I wanted to ask, what's it feel like to hear the words like this from someone who's currently involved in the program?
Oh, I mean, George, it's a real treat, and I'll be sending this recording to a number of my colleagues who've done a lot of the work on this. In particular, I'm thinking of the instructional designers and that team of people who work so hard behind the scenes and often don't hear this kind of the feedback of how their work is received. So I'm excited to send it to them. I'm interested to hear more about which courses you've taken so far and how you see those as kind of most relevant or useful so far, and where you see that applying to your work on a day-to-day basis this winter. But it's not my job to really ask questions. It's George's job. So sorry for going outline already.
After Pete so eloquently asked that question, I would really love for you to pick it up.
Well, if he's Dr. Evil, I guess that cast me as Austin Powers. So let me get my mojo together here and answer that question. And the core curriculum is comprised of 3 different courses, one of which involves attaining the level 1 certification for Alpine, or for snowboarding, I guess, as well, but level 1 certification, and documenting the entire journey to that endpoint. In addition, there is a requirement to take a leisure and human behavior class, which was really amazing to me because I hadn't really contemplated leisure much. I guess I was really too close to getting everything done on a day-to-day basis, but it afforded an opportunity to explore leisure and relaxation, recreation, and the fundamental aspects of play in a way that I had never really contemplated before. And that course runs an entire semester, a term, and is followed by the Leadership Development in Snow Sports course, which is another 3-credit course that lasts an entire term. So once you've amassed those required 9 credits, 3 plus 3 plus 3, then you would be eligible to attain the undergraduate certificate. There is another avenue open to individuals such as myself who came to the course already having attained the level 1 certification in Alpine through PSIA-AASI. And there you can submit a portfolio of prior life and learning experiences that would qualify you to not have to retake that initial course to get the level 1 certification. And that's a remarkable acknowledgement on the part of Penn State University that there is a broad diversity in the background of students who are going to be attracted to this course. Some will have industry experience and some will have no industry experience, but to acknowledge the fact that people have been working for years and bring something special and extra to the class and enrich the certificate, I think it is really very encouraging, and it was a big draw for me.
Something I've got to ask you both, and it's that training to me on the mountain is a blast. I love it. I love going out at the end of the day in a clinic. I like getting there early and doing clinics, and I just love clinics. And looking at the course, are you able to keep that spirit of fun in your classroom? Because that's such a big part of what we're doing. And Mark, I liked how you started out saying this is a lot about me, but there is a lot of that in this because it brings us joy. And if we're able to bring that joy out and provide that for our students and the people that we're working with, we're going to give them a much better experience.
George, I can't tell you how many aha moments I've experienced since enrolling in this program, where connections have been made between what I had previously learned in clinics and on the mountain to what I was now understanding through the didactic component of this undergraduate certificate program. It was really remarkable. And again, kudos to the faculty for making sure that the course material was up to date, was relevant, and could be useful from day one going forward. So there was nothing extraneous. There were challenges. You had to think, you had to work, you had to be creative, you had to be a problem solver. But for all of that, you can bring it back to the mountain and really enrich the experience for your guests, but also have a darn good time yourself.
Pete, anything to add to that?
I'm delighted to hear that. I mean, it's great to hear. You know, you always want to have that. You know, when you're designing a course, whether it's in person or online, of course you want people to have aha moments and you want people to enjoy learning. It's not always easy to know if that's going to happen or how that works, and it's also not straightforward when you can't see people and have immediate feedback. So I'm delighted to hear that, Mark. It's fantastic news, and I hope that continues both for people taking the courses and for you as you go through the season, and hopefully you can kind of draw and reflect back on some of that content and use it. And
Yeah.
you know, maybe there'll be moments when you'll say, oh, this reminds me of, you know.
And Mark, I want to step back and ask you a boring question, but I think it's an important one. What's registration like? Is it a simple procedure to get registered for the program?
Yes, it is a simple procedure. And this program is run through the Penn State World Campus. So you literally can be anywhere in the world and be an active participant in the class. And that, I think, really was a particular feature that I enjoyed, was interacting with my classmates. There were no barriers. The technology worked to the 99 and 44 100% level. So that's pretty darn good. And communication was crisp, but registration is very simple. And the feedback that that I received, and I think my classmates as well received from the faculty as well as the staff and the admin, was really very helpful. And if at any point you should encounter a stumbling block, there's always help available. And again, very responsive. So there's really no impediment to being an active participant, signing up and participating throughout.
All right. Well, Dr. Evil has a world campus. Sounds like a little, yeah. You said you've had a lot of aha moments during the classes. What are some of those moments that you've been able to take back to Blue Mountain? Because it sounds like this is something where you'd be in class and just going, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go share this with the staff at work.
Yeah, well, I reflect on interactions I've had with special people that have left a lasting impression. And it was through those impressions that the aha moments were enriched even further. So I grew up in New England, skied at a small place in northwestern Connecticut called Ski Sundown, and then took a 15-year hiatus from skiing and only came back to the sport with the phenomenal good luck of connecting with an instructor, Aspen Snowmass, whose name is Mark Severson. Shout out to you, Mark. 50 years teaching, 100 days every year. And he really was an inspiration to me. And I've skied with him let's say 20 years and counting. Right? So he left me with all these jewels that subsequently have germinated and really turned into the tips and tricks that I use routinely when I'm interacting with my guests and my students. Also, I admired for many years the impact that Horst Abraham has had on teaching and the guest-centered, student-centered approach that he's taken. And again, more aha moments. And most recently was influenced by Gwen Allard. I have now focused my professional development on adaptive sports and spend at least one day a week at Wyndham Mountain and the Adaptive Sports Foundation there that she was instrumental in setting up. So all sorts of discoveries and new insights that have just been latent, but have been catalyzed through my participation in this undergraduate certificate course.
So Pete, when you were setting up the curriculum, what were you looking at for the courses? There's so much you could do. How did you condense it down into a program that would really be specific and targeted toward getting your level 1, level 2, and level 3 certifications?
Well, it's a challenge, George, because there's so much and there's so many exciting things that you want to put into a curriculum. So I spent a lot of time. I spent about 3 years talking to people and asking people across the country, different examiners, different national team members. And what I asked a lot of people was what does a great snow sports instructor look like? And obviously we'd had a lot of those conversations as we were working through the new national standards that are now all developed and we've got the full box set. But I also ask people, when somebody comes for an assessment, what is it that makes you think, oh, they're really well prepared? What have they done? And also, when somebody comes for an assessment and you think, oh no, you really should have ... what is it that you should have done to come forward for that assessment? And so there's that approach helped us to refine what went into the curriculum. But then also, thinking about at level 1, a lot of people don't know at level 1 and to some extent at level 2, you don't know what you don't know for most people. And so that element, I spent a lot of that time consulting and saying, okay, what are the essentials that we need to put in here that will set somebody off to launch into their career? We can't cover everything. In some ways, we don't want to cover everything, but what are the foundations that are really going to set somebody up for success at those levels? And as we develop the level 2 and the level 3 certificates, which are in process, so that's the professional snow sports leadership and professional snow sports management, those courses have more flexibility in them. So particularly at the level 3 one, there is an option to take any 3-credit course that is kind of agreed and approved and makes sense. So if somebody, for example, has an interest in nutrition and sports performance, they can do an online course on nutrition and sports performance. If they're interested in adolescent development, they can do a course on that. So if there's a whole range of courses, and Penn State being a big university, there are a lot of courses to choose from. And so that allows that flexibility as people get further through the system to prepare them for their work and their own pathways that they choose.
And you've heard that you never want to ask a question you don't know the answer to. You really threw me there, Pete, because when you said, we were looking for what's a good instructor look like, and I was expecting you to say, well, I looked in the mirror and good instructors in a navy blue hoodie and wears has a killer accent.
This is great Friday afternoon back chat. Well, I do have a collection of Penn State stickers that I've been giving out as I travel the country and go to places to try and persuade people that Penn State might be a good idea to consider if you're working in this field. But I'm not sure how successful that is, but we all love a good sticker.
I would love to put some on my Nordicas. Mark, so what is kind of your end goal with the program for yourself personally?
Right. Well, I wanted to understand at a deeper, more intimate level, um, where snow sports originated, where they are today, and why, and what I can personally do to influence the trajectory and the eventual destination that snow sports will travel on a going forward basis. And you can certainly have significant impact and change lives as an instructor. But I was looking for more tools in the toolkit to maybe build something beyond that. And that's where I think this opportunity presents an on-ramp to uh, a, a management track and an industry influencing track that is almost unique. I know of some other programs, maybe Colorado Mountain College and others, that touch upon some facets of the industry and could possibly equip individuals in a way similar to what Penn State and PSIA-AASI have created. But as far as my personal experience, I think this has been uh, invaluable. And if I were to identify an ideal candidate, it'd be an individual who is passionate about snow sports and is looking to spend his or her entire career in the snow sports industry, and again, guiding it and having that significant impact. And I'm on the lookout for those people. And if any of my students should meet that profile, I will not hesitate to make a strong recommendation.
And Pete, I think this is a really important message to be getting out because, I mean, Mark is showing us that there's much more to this program than being focused in on getting your certifications.
Absolutely, George. I mean, I think I'm not sure that there's much that I can say that can persuade people of that Mark hasn't already said, and I think it's much more powerful coming from Mark and much more credible coming from Mark, because I'm not, I'm not. Sales is not my forte, and I'm not really, about about pushing things on people. But I certainly, when I hear this, I hope that people are thinking, maybe this is something that I should sign up to do. Maybe it's something that I should encourage my staff to sign up to do. Maybe it's something that I should make a gift to PSIA to say, I'd like to pay for half of somebody's credits for one of these courses, or I'd like to pay for a share of that, or that kind of thing to invest in the future of snow sports. I know every time I pay my dues, there's an option to give a gift, and I always put a little gift in there and say, please direct this towards newer instructors who are trying to make their way and find their way, because we all know that's a hard time when, often we don't have very much money and we need support to progress and to get off the ground, as it were, in working in snow sports in this wonderful industry.
Mark, do you have some words for a conclusion for us?
Yes, and just to follow up on the themes that Dr. Allison was talking about, and I think that also an ideal candidate to be informed about the program, the general managers of resorts and mountains, because it is those individuals who are looking for their successors. They want to build that exemplary team. And this is a fantastic opportunity for them. And they would truly be making a significant investment that is going to yield great dividends in the short, intermediate, and long term. So anytime that you might have the ear of a GM, I would definitely plant that seed and provide them with a sticker as well.
Pete, I know the program has a lot of popularity out there because it's come up at pretty much every lineup that I've been at this season. And I haven't been at a lot of lineups because I've been dancing. And I do need to clarify, a lot of people were asking about my ski ballet, and no, I actually am in ballet doing the Nutcracker.
Right, right.
But it's really funny to hear so many people talking about the Penn State program. And there's a lot of interest out there. Just want you to know that. And yeah, keep getting those stickers out, Pete.
Great, thanks, George. And I hear you. I hear you had a couple of famous moments in lineups recently. I think you should share one of those stories, because I know you're humble, but I think you should share one of those stories with the listeners, because they gave me great joy to hear.
I'll just say it's really amazing to me having people, fellow instructors, come up and say how much they've learned from you, Pete, Josh Fogg, Horst, Angelo. Lots of feedback on Angelo being on first chair. And I really want to give a lot of credit to Catherine and Andy for really getting this podcast out there. And it's very rewarding to have some really good feedback coming in, and people saying that they're actually learning some useful tools that can help them with their instruction pathway. So thank you for bringing that up, Pete. Mark Carvlin, I really want to thank you for taking the time to be on First Chair. And Pete, it is always a pleasure having you on. From the PSIA-AASI Satellite Studios in Corvallis, Oregon, I'm George Thomas.